Is it true Israel Folau is going to join Tonga? Izzy Folau. Izzy. One of the great strengths of rugby league is its inclusivity, right? Historically. You look at like why Billy Boston left Wales to come to play for Wigan, apart from money and everything else. Clive Sullivan, captain in Great Britain. Ellery Hanley, Great Britain coach in the Midnights or whatever.
Roy Francis.
And example after example after example of inclusivity in rugby league. One of the ways the women's game has been sold this year, and I don't think I've said this on air, but I'll say it now. When they sell the Wigan Saints fixture based on the fact that a player on each team is married to each other. And I think, that's not how I'd sell it, but fair enough. So that's rugby league in 2019. And where some people want to welcome back someone who is the complete opposite of inclusivity. Not just about his views on homosexuals, his views on atheists, fornicators, drunks. Is that all of us covered? I don't know.
I think we're under the umbrella.
How can
I don't think any of us are exempt on at least one of those.
How can you?
In fact, I think on one specific work to do, we might have been all of us on all charges.
Yeah, I just don't see it. Yeah, I just don't see it. And if he does play, I hope none of the Great Britain players shake his hand. I hope none of them.
I think we've missed something.
Say hello to him or anything.
Go on, then.
I think you've got to look at the origin of this story. The issue at the moment is what is happening with Tonga Rugby League, and we mentioned it briefly last week that the success story of raising the profile of the international game has been the fact that we now have a fourth nation, a tier 2 nation where some very brave players eschewed extra money by playing for Australia or New Zealand or it being part of state of origin to say no, heritage is more important to us. And some guys, principally Jason Taumalolo, obviously because he's the most high profile, Andrew Fafita, a couple of others, David Fusitua, Tui Lolahia, who all decided that they were going to back their heritage. And immediately we had a semi-final that you spoke about last week that arguably the best atmosphere of any game you've ever been to. Whether you were playing, watching, just happened to be in the stadium, even 12,000 miles away on telly, you couldn't not your hair stand up on the back of your neck. That is a massive story, but in typical rugby league fashion, politics has intervened in Tonga, and the Tongan board, based on the island, for whatever reason, have decided to change their coach, to bring in somebody the players don't want. There is a dispute behind the scenes about monies that was generated and supposedly to be allocated to development of rugby league on the island of Tonga, that there's no proof that that's happened yet. It may well have done, but all the players are saying what we think we've got is a very professional setup on the field and a very amateurish one off it. So we want change in the way the sport's run. Now, the sports governing body back in Tonga has come under massive criticism, particularly all the players writing handwritten notes saying we don't want to play for these people anymore. And I think they have felt that the only way they can turn around this tide of publicity against them is to produce out of nowhere a bloke who's hadn't played the game for the last 10 years. So I think the story for me has come from the Tongan board that is under pressure. Right. They've approached Israel Folau and said, we'll select you. And that's become a major headline story.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd get registered, I don't think he'd be sanctioned. I think the issue is far bigger than whether he plays or not. There's no question. No, I haven't seen a quote from Jason Taumalolo saying, would you be fine with Folau picked in your team? And him going, what, a guy I play with every week who's proving himself against someone who I haven't really got a lot of time for in his beliefs, that hasn't played for them. I think it's a non-story, but it's a way of moving the metronome back towards the Tongan Federation. The RLIF needs to kill it.
Nice damaging story.
He's not
playing. Yeah. Nice damaging story. But you know, I sent some tweets out about it earlier this morning. I think you'd have to be extremely naive and foolish to believe there aren't people who hold the same opinions as him, but they're not stupid enough to say them publicly. Now, whether that's a good or bad thing,
and also he has a responsibility when you sign a contract to present the sport that you represent in an honest and positive light, and that being bigoted clearly doesn't do that.
Is one world-class sportsman, as he was described to me earlier, worth however many normal people who want to watch and play the game?
No.
And it's the hypocrisy of, and we've been through this before, players who are any good get away with things that players who are not any good don't get away with.
At international level, you wouldn't want to play alongside someone who hasn't played sport for 10 years.
Not a chance.
Irrespective of anything else.
No,
He's not proved himself.
No.
Doesn't deserve selection.
Should not be allowed in our sport. Simple as that. End of.
Here's Jay. Folau is known for not following guidelines for tolerance, so bugger him. Well, I think that's the problem.
Well,
Jay.
could have been phrased slightly better, I suspect.
No.
Or maybe that's what it is, I don't know.